Hey everybody, it's Tommy with a Better Time LLC. Got an Omega. I'm going to show you guys today. This is an Omega you might not see as often, and that's kind of cool. You know what I mean? You see a lot of Seamasters. You see a lot of a lot of Seamaster DeVilles. There's just you see the same watches come up for sale over and over and over again. This is one that you don't see nearly as often. This is an Omega Automatic. Bottom line, I mean, that's the extent of its name. It's a big, bulky, gnarly dress watch. Now, bulky not so much by today's standards, but this is a 1971 Omega Automatic date. And this watch is, look at the, you don't see a scratch on this thing. I don't know if the guy that bought this just didn't wear it or what the deal was, but everyone knows, if you're into watches at all, you know that the part of the watch that's going to take the most abuse is usually the buckle, right? The clasp on your strap is always going to be a bit of an issue, right? Look at the condition of that. At 51 years, I mean, this band, by the way, people, you see the end links on this? A stainless steel. If you see one of these and the end links are not stainless steel, it's been replated because Omega put these things out, and this is how it came from the factory. If you look at all the original shots, and I've looked, whenever you get something into the collection, you look at other people's stuff, you look up and see what other people are selling, and anytime we see one of these in decent shape, the end links are always gold, and it's got to be a replating thing because this is the way that they came. Look at the band stretch on this. I mean, this thing it's just almost ridiculous. I don't know how you buy a watch this nice and don't wear it, unless you just had a huge collection. And there is something to that because the gentleman that we acquired this from, I think there were about 9 or 10 Omegas that we got all at once from this guy. So he was pretty into Omega, and he was the only owner of this watch, which is also kind of cool. You don't always. A lot of times when you buy vintage, there's no telling just how many hands the watch has been in. Not that I care, because every watch tells a story, and everybody becomes part of that story and all the cool things that went on with the watch. But this particular one, the reason I enjoy the concept of only one guy owning this is because he certainly didn't do any damage to it. Didn't spend a whole lot of time wearing it. The crystal, this is not polished. We didn't even have to clean this crystal up. When we got this thing, this watch, I mean, you're looking at it exactly the way it is. Keeps perfect time. The back of the case back does not have a scratch on it. Nobody ever tried to pry into this thing with a screwdriver. It's just absolutely pristine. Gorgeous, gorgeous condition. And it is a 1971. People, obviously, this is not precious metal. This is one of the watches that they do their gold fill on, but nothing is worn off this watch, and I'll give Omega credit. You don't see, when Omega has a watch that is, either gold filled or gold plated or however they do it thick. You never see it wear off. My problem with those watches in general on gold that isn't actual, precious metal, where they're doing some kind of plating or some kind of gold filled or RGP or anything like that, oftentimes it just doesn't look the part. You know what I mean? You can look at it at distance and say, that just doesn't look like gold. It looks tinny, kind of looks cheesy. But this is one of those watches. I mean, if you look at that band, that looks like, you would see on an oyster bracelet and there's something very oyster-like about that bracelet too. So it looks very much like the Rolex Oyster bracelet. Just a beautiful watch, really is. And it's good sized. In 1970, 71, when this was made, a lot of watches were a little bit smaller. I'm a fan. I'm too into vintage to not like watches that are Calatrava size, 30 millimeter, 31, 32. But this one's coming in at 35. Now, for perspective, like if you get a Rolex, other than say the Submariner or any of the new models that they're beefing up, where you've got 40 or 41 or 42, the standard Rolex Datejust or Day Date or any of those models, sort of the dressier of the Rolex line, for years have always been 36. So this is, just for perspective, this case is right around that size. And anytime we give you a measurement like that, we're not putting the winding crown in. There are people that do, especially if they're wanting to make the watch look a little bigger than it is. They'll measure it, from one side of the case to the winding crown. We don't. We measure, side to side, but without doing the crown. And then we give you a lug to lug as well. All of that stuff will be listed in the pictures that we've got up on and you will also see this on a normal size wrist, because Noah's got pictures of it up there on his wrist. So get a look at that. This watch is at $1,200. Noah, $1,200? Pretty sure it's $1,200, but I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure this is $1,200, and you can make us an offer. And for a little perspective, we were bidding on another one of these the other day, and it was just the head. It's actually a really funny story. And one of the guys that we associate with, we don't work with him, he's not part of the company, but he was bidding on it and using his phone, and he hit the wrong number and ended up bidding. He wanted to put his max bid in at 190 something or whatever, because he tends to be one of those guys that wants to get everything on a steal, but accidentally hit a 6 and had the thing in there at 600 and something, and he was just, he called and said, I can't believe this. I don't want to, get into it with the auction house or whatever. Called us a couple of days later to say, I didn't win that. So the head of that watch ended up going for a little over $700. The price of vintage is going through the roof, but this is an opportunity to own an absolutely gorgeous, almost untouched 1971 Omega automatic date in just pristine condition on the original strap, $1,200. Or make us an offer. If it's too low, we're not going to hear it anyway. Noah, the 1971 Omega, $1,200. See, I knew it. I knew that. I don't even know why I doubted myself. I knew that. All right, people, I am Tommy with the Better Time LLC, and we will see you on the next watch.